Well, here we are. After years of work, months of teasing, we made it. The Heart of Time is complete. So to recap the story so far, me and my best friend Chris, we've been doing this fan series since we were in high school. And in fact the first episode of the first series we have officially done was uploaded in 2013, 10 years ago now. And now we have this, Doctor Who, The Heart of Time, the culmination of all of our work and the final chapter of Chris's version of the Doctor.
What we do now will change everything.
So given how this is the 10th anniversary of our fan series, we didn't just want to make this just a big special of like getting other characters and stuff like that. We wanted to make this the culmination of everything we've done over the past 10 years.
It's pretty surreal. You don't often think about it a lot, but you know, I think it's pretty wild that 2013 was 10 years ago. That feels quite bizarre, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, we've gotten better as we've gone along. So, I mean, it's surreal, it's weird, and it's not been the easiest journey, as anyone that's worked with me will be able to relay. But yeah, I mean, it's just quite mental to have gotten this far.
Believe it or not, initially this wasn't going to be an anniversary thing. This production kept getting paused multiple times because of COVID, lockdowns and just other personal things that were going on in life. Chris had started a new job by that point. So our lives kept getting in the way, that's why the production took so long. But it just ended up working well in our favour, as not only was it cut to the 10th anniversary of our first series for this fan series, our first set of episodes, but this was also in lining up with the 60th anniversary of the show. And so it just sort of worked as a happy accident in our favour. Just the stars sort of aligned, so while everything kept getting pushed back, by the time we actually got the majority of it finished, we realised that it was coming soon to 10 years of our series, 60 years of the proper show, and we decided to make that our anniversary date. We decided to make that the actual air date of this film.
The Doctor is protecting the Heart of Time, which is a device that is capable of rewriting time without consequence, so it doesn't create paradoxes, which obviously, you know, is quite a big deal. That's quite a dangerous thing in the wrong hands. So the Doctor is keeping guard on it, and Omega wants it. Omega is desperate for the Heart of Time because he wants to reshape the universe in his own image. So that is kind of the setup, the loose synopsis of the story.
Well, the Heart of Time is shown in the film as this powerful ancient artifact that got locked away because of how powerful it was due to its ability to change time without consequence. It became more than that as Chris was writing Series 5, and as well as The Heart of Time when it was originally 2 films. He wanted to show it as something that's not just powerful but also tempting. And in fact, we see this multiple times in the film where the Doctor hears voices in his head of Simon, Sky, the Mystery Doctor, etc., etc. All the other past people in his life who have died. And he hears the voices as they tempt him to use the hard time, which ultimately manifests as this Dark Doctor, a dark version of himself, allowing him a Time Lord victorious way to change whatever he wants, do as he pleases without rule or consequence. The Lord of Time would be in his own hands if he used the power.
Obviously, it's quite a traditional Doctor Who story in the sense that, something happens, the Doctor has to sort it, the Doctor sorts it, and then we reach the end. I suppose what makes this a bit more interesting is it's my Doctor's final story, so it's a regeneration story as well. So there is a lot of emotional weight connected to this story.
This is just a swan song for Chris, as he has stated that he's told me multiple times that he has thought of an idea for an ending for his version of the Doctor, and now is the chance to actually get it done. And what better opportunity to do this, and not only on our 10th anniversary, but the 60th anniversary of the show as well.
This film has been the most bizarre kind of production process, I think. So, obviously we had our big 3-year break after Series 3, which was just like various things were happening in all of our lives, and it just we just didn't make anything for a while. And I was working on Series 4, which then became Series 4 and Series 5. And around about the time Series 4 came out, which was 2018, was when I was writing the script for The Heart of Time. So it's been in production, technically, for about 5 years.
One of the big things that changed during the production, years before we actually got the bulk of it done, was the fact that this was originally going to be 2 films, but things kept falling behind schedule, our lives got in the way of things. It just became too much of a production to ultimately work on for just 2 films, so we eventually mushed the whole thing down to just one big film. So we can eventually just wrap up Chris's story so he can get on to now working behind the director's chair for the next series.
And then it took us 2 years to shoot it and edit it and get it ready, and now it's at a point where, as we're recording this, I'm about 95% done on it. And it's been interesting as well because obviously it's a film and we are used to doing episodes. Episodes, I think, actually take a lot less time to shoot everything for, whereas because this was a big kind of film with a lot of action set pieces going on, a lot of green screen work, a lot of TARDIS stuff, location stuff, it was a big undertaking, and it just took a lot of time to kind of plan everything, even though the actual core cast is quite small. It just did take quite a long time to get everything in motion.
Plus, a lot of things ended up changing behind the scenes, like Marina ended up parting ways. She's still in the film, of course, but she decided to move on. She didn't want to carry on with this, so a lot of her stuff ended up getting cut short and to be removed, so that helped us quite a bit. It came to a point where we just decided this was too much for us to work on. We weren't getting everything done, so we decided to make it one big story so we can wrap up the whole thing, wrap up Chris's story, so he can find someone else to play the Doctor.
I always envisioned my Doctor going out on a big kind of grand adventure. It was never always supposed to be a film. For quite a while it was going to be a series of specials, and then it was going to be a big multi-part finale, and then we decided to do a film. So it kind of evolved over time, but it was always going to be this big, massive, epic thing, like the biggest thing that we'd done to date, and that's the way I wanted to go out. I've been doing it for so long that when I knew I was going to regenerate, I wanted it to be this big, epic, kind of blockbuster final adventure. So that's why it's this.
One big way that this fan film works as an anniversary for our series is the character of Blake. Blake is a character who was a supporting role in one of our other fan films, Doctor Who: The Darkness, which we uploaded on the show's 50th anniversary.
Doctor.
Blake.
Doctor!
Blake, how are you?
I'm good, same old, same old. How about you?
I'm not too bad, you know. Places to go, people to see. The universe is just so vast and big and complicated, and can I sit down?
Yes, yes you can. Take a seat.
And Chris really liked the character, so he's been wanting to bring him back for ages. And he thought this was a good chance to do it, especially since Marina ended up dropping out halfway through production. And while Blake was already set to be appearing in the film, his role was much majorly increased, given how without Marina, the Doctor needs someone to play off with, and our cast was dropped down to 3 people, so the character got more screen time than we initially planned, and just made him the supporting character of the film. The idea of making him a Time Lord came much later in production, like well after The Darkness came out. Originally he was just a friend of the Doctor, but since we couldn't get a hold of the original actor, Dougie Wettram, who appeared in The Darkness, we decided to change it and rewrite him to be a Time Lord. Basically just an excuse just to get another actor involved. A friend of ours, Josh, who's a producer on this fan series, has been expressing interest for a while, and when he got involved, he accepted the offer of playing Blake so we can have another actor involved.
Someone has to stop him.
I will decimate this universe and reshape it into a universe ruled by a god.
Omega is a character Chris absolutely loves, and he's been wanting to get Omega involved in the series for years. I mean, years and years.
I mean, how could I not want to use Omega? I mean, we've had sort of a lot going on with Gallifreyan Time Lords in our fan series, so it kind of felt right that the Doctor's big final villain would be someone like Omega, you know, one of the founding fathers of Gallifrey. And of course, like everything I write, you know, I took inspiration from some other big franchises doing their big things. Like probably the biggest one I can think of is, you know, Infinity War and Endgame, and using Thanos as the big MCU villain.
Even before the writing of The Heart of Time, Chris just wanted to have Omega as his final villain, the ultimate boss. His Thanos, as he was constantly pitching it as. Omega was Chris's Thanos, and The Heart of Time was the Infinity Stones.
I like that idea of having a big, imposing threat, because yeah, I could do someone like the Master, but you know, the Master to me is kind of a villain, kind of a friend of the Doctor at the same time, so it wouldn't feel like a big grand event. I wanted a big imposing, imposing villain where when we did the dialogue we can make him sound really deep and sinister and evil. And also, I'm a big fan of Omega. It's the 2 things I wanted to do in the fan series are the 2 things that I've able to do whilst I've been playing the Doctor, and that was bring the Sea Devils back and bring Omega into it.
He's always had this idea in mind of The Heart of Time as a plot weapon, as an artifact that to be in the show. And so he's been pitching me the Heart of Time story for ages, and Omega was the perfect threat he thought could be the ultimate villain that is in search for the Heart of Time.
It's been in production, technically, for about 5 years. And then it took us 2 years to shoot it and edit it and get it ready, and now it's at a point where, as we're recording this, I'm about 95% done on it, and it's one of these things that I think I'll never ever truly be 100% happy with the outcome, but if I can make it good enough that people respond to it well, that is all I would want from it.